Welcome back to Your Story's Not Over, You're Still Writing It with your host, me, Erin. Today, I want to talk about making sure that you do not forget who you are in today's society with social media. Here with me today, I have Olivia and Russell, two teenagers, almost adults age, that are going to explain to us the difference in now versus whenever we were younger. All right, Olivia, Russell, I want to ask y'all first off, with social media, what is it like having friends that you don't really know but you connect with? Like the friendships with social media, how personal are they and how the pros and cons? Olivia?
No, like, what do you mean by that?
What are pros and just a friendship, not even
Alright,
like a romantic right now.
Like, do you mean like friends met in real life or friends met through
Social media.
like friends with
Yeah, the pros and cons of it.
I feel like, pros is, you get to meet new people. It helps you, like, there's more of a variety of people from other places other than, like, in your town or even in your state. But cons is you really don't really know who it necessarily is. I mean, you can have an idea of who they portray themselves to, like, as online, but you're not really having like a personal, interaction. So you're never really gonna know how to actually like, and that could always end up to some kind of problem. Like, you think you're meeting somebody who's really nice, is going to support you and be good for you, and then end up getting really close to them, and they end up being like the opposite because you didn't know how they really were because you only met them through what you saw online.
Cool. No, I like that. That's right. I love that. That seems to be a lot of concern for parents with teenagers. They don't know who their child is actually talking to.
Right.
So it's nice to hear a teenager acknowledge that, even though she is almost closer to a young adult. Russell, what about you? You have any input on that?
I think it's a good and bad thing.
Why do you think it's a good and bad thing?
I think it's a good thing because I wouldn't have met a lot of people that I have met if I didn't have it. They had, there's like satire manipulation and a lot of other things that happen online.
So a lot of drama.
It's really, I mean, I know a lot of it's not in control, but a lot of it you can control. So I think that's why it's a good and bad thing, because it's all about the person themselves who's using social media.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Taking accountability for your own actions and your own self, who you allow in your circle.
Right.
That's a very good point. And that takes maturity. That's where there's a conflict in today's world of what is a good age and what is not. That's not for me to decide. That's for individual parents, but that's where the conflict comes from.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all, what about romantic relationships? Do you think they make it harder for younger people to have a romantic relationship?
Yeah, I think when you have a relationship and social media is involved, it's more public, and so more people know about it. And a lot of people in this world is like they see something good, they do what they can to try to mess it up. I don't know why, but like, you pay attention. Like a lot of people do that, especially at this age. So when your relationship's public like that, a lot of other people will like try to text the other person and try to cause problems, spread lies, things like that. Another thing that I notice is like a lot of arguments start from social media and relationships. Like, for example, a lot of like girls or boys will see that their partner is following another person's social media or is texting another person on social media and stuff like that. And it just, people start to lack trust, and it causes a lot of trust issues. And I think that's where it does the most damage for relationships.
It's a good point. I hear that often, actually from all different ages, the same thing. And the point you were making earlier about the
More
people
public.
try to take down,
Right.
when people try to take down good. Do you know, a lot of people don't realize they're doing it, but what happens is misery likes misery and hurt people like hurt people. And that also goes like across the board. You even got little old ladies and old men doing it.
Right.
I mean, it's across the board. But with that, what about being public in life with it? You know, social media is at your fingertips now, right? And you don't have dial up and stuff. You don't have to go home and download things to the computer. You don't have a big, bulky camera. But everybody has these little cameras on their phone and everybody's recording. How much privacy, true privacy, do you think teenagers have?
I mean, really not a lot, because if you pay attention to even, like, mostly, like, famous influencers and stuff too, and not even that, some like, people at school and stuff, they get recorded, like, making stupid mistakes that all teenagers do, and it gets posted around, and a lot of times it can, end up to them getting bullied, getting death threats, getting harassed because they made some kind of mistake, and it got public, like, posted online when it shouldn't have been, and it shouldn't have been made as a big deal as it was, because it's just a mistake a child made, and now they're having to go through, like, online bullying and all this stuff and all this harassment when it was something that nobody else was really supposed to see.
So I wanna point something out here with that right there. Check this out. So you're sitting here saying that teenagers feel like they have no privacy amongst other teenagers, right?
Right.
Well, part of a parent's job is to know what's going on so that they can help keep their kids safe. So, do you see why there's so much more conflict in between parents and kids because of what's going on the outside, the damage being done into
Right.
the family units today? Okay, so them not feeling protected, like they feel like they have no privacy. When a parent comes in and wants to know details of their life, they do want to give less. Where
Right.
typically, if social media and if things weren't being
Right,
filmed,
'cause
they could feel more open with their parents because that's who their private life is supposed to be with until they are adults.
Right.
So, do you see now what I'm saying that causes a conflict that is unnecessary in life?
Especially have any input
Not really on that.
You have any input at all, Russell?
from the relationship or anything?
I think it's better to keep your relationship off of social media. Some people may think it's sketchy, like, if you don't post no, I'm not saying if you post a picture here and there, that's okay. But like, if it's like constant updates with you and your significant other, I don't think that's healthy, because I feel like your relationship's supposed to be private, but it doesn't have to be secluded, there's a difference. So
Private, not secret.
Yes.
I really think that you should be public that you have a significant other, but just don't let everybody know what y'all got going on all the time.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I like
let
that
everybody
point.
know that you're in a relationship, but nobody knows what's actually going on
Well,
in the relationship.
and y'all, let me point this out. These relationships that every detail of them are on all these social media sites, you almost got to stop and go, when do y'all actually have time for y'all? How much of y'all time is actually y'all living versus y'all taking pictures of each other, pretending to live? Because
Right.
you're not taking the real time to live.
Right. And I also noticed, like, the more me and Roberta, like, got into a relationship, it was, like, the less pictures we had, because it was, like, it didn't matter if we were taking pictures or not, because we're, like, in a moment, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We
I
did.
love that.
It was more of like, we spend all this time together, and I like that. I like that it's more of a core memory instead of I have to look at my phone to remember it.
Exactly, and it's not for anybody else. Nobody else is gonna ever see this experience or anything.
And they
It's
don't,
just
they
between us.
won't, I mean, it's not, it won't be a comparable story.
Exactly.
Right. And that's another thing with social media these days, is I feel like it's easier for teens to compare what their lives should be like, their relationships should be like, their looks, their clothes, like all that, and it
They're not
causes a
truly
lot of problems. They're not truly being themselves, because they're like, this celebrity right here dresses like this, or this girl on social media right here acts like this and goes to these parties and does all these things, and it's cool. So
Mhm.
I should start doing that too. And it gives, like, I feel like it gives teenagers these days less of a chance.
So, would you agree with the statement that social media in today's world accidentally, at the very least, accidentally causes it to be easier to forget who you are as a person?
I mean, yeah, because I feel like it kind of makes you pretend to be other people from what's
The dog's in here, y'all. It's okay.
But I think, you try to be more like the people that are getting more attention on social media because it's popular, it's cool, instead of actually being yourself.
Being yourself. Well, Olivia, Russell, thank y'all both so much for coming out. Everybody remember, you're freaking awesome. Make your day freaking awesome. I'll holler at you next time on Your Story's Not Over. You're still writing it. Peace out.